So I want to talk about that, about the Libertarian Party being a force here in Washington. Now, the party, you ran for office. The candidates here tend to do better than Libertarian candidates in other states. Now, one of the things that's the main obstacles is that, major party status thing. The Libertarian Party being considered not a major status party in Washington, uh, or not being given major party status, that means that you have to get 1,000 signatures to have the presidential candidate on the ballot. That takes up a lot of time that the Republican and Democrats are using to campaign, fundraise, and all that kind of stuff. Now, Gary Johnson got to the 5%, but then they suddenly changed that. They suddenly said, we're going to count the write ins and not before they didn't use that. What's the status with that? Are you guys still challenging them?
Right. So what happened was is we were really caught on a technicality. And unfortunately, the state seems to have decided which side of the fence it wishes to be on regarding that technicality. And really what this came down to is we were just too close. It is disappointing that we didn't get across that finish line, but really that just means we got to work even harder to get there and beyond, because then that way there's no question of doubt. And so we'll continue to work on that. Thankfully, our requirements to get on the ballot aren't nearly as daunting as some other states. We have some states where they actually have had to fight in court to be able to get that ballot access. We're confident that we'll have no problems again getting our candidate on the ballot again in 2020. So we'll look forward to that. But in the meantime, we're going to focus on some state issues and help raise awareness to our cause here in the meantime.
Yeah, Randy, thank you for joining us today. Good to see you again. I'd like to ask you a couple things about the Libertarian Party. How is it different from the GOP? What about the Libertarian Party makes it right for Spokane? And a little bit about the perception. A lot of people think Libertarian Party, they think fringe group, libertarian. I know a little bit about the Libertarian Party. It's really goes back to what the traditional GOP really was 50 years ago. I'd like you to talk about those kind of issues. And then I think we want to talk about some of the pending laws at the state level and what is the libertarian perspective of that and how that might impact the citizens and ratepayers of Spokane.
Sure. So Libertarian Party, unlike the Republicans and the Democrats, we actually borrow a lot of philosophies from those two, but in terms of really the spectrum rather being left and right in political philosophies, it's more about more or less government. So the Libertarian Party in general is about less government. We champion a lot of issues that Democrats also champion, and we champion a lot of issues that Republicans also champion. And so that's where it becomes a little confusing for a lot of people, is because most people don't realize that we kind of take both of those kinds of issues from the Democrats and Republicans and apply it to that minimum government type philosophy. And so when we control the amount of government we have, we're freer. We have better mobility to move about the country, to conduct business as we choose, and to live our lives the way that we choose to live. And so, as you probably have heard many times from Gary Johnson, he wants to get the government out of our bedroom, out of your pocketbook. And so those are kind of issues that straddle both the Republicans and Democrats. Fiscal conservativeness, making sure that our country is living within its means, just like every other American. And we also want to make sure that we're offering the freedoms and liberties for everybody equally, and making sure that people have an equal opportunity to be able to achieve the most that they can do. And so that's kind of in a nutshell, the libertarian philosophy, if you will. And so where we try to apply to that is we are tackling issues around government regulation, impedance on the free market, making sure that we're not infringing our rights, such as gun ownership. Also, you got same-sex marriage and reproductive rights. We try to tackle all those issues from The government just shouldn't be involved in those kinds of issues. Those are really about social issues that the people, the community should be coming together on and working through. And so that's the kind of standpoint that we take. So therefore, we're at city councils, we're at Olympia, and we're trying to help peel back or reducing the impact of these types of laws and regulations that restrict our freedoms in these areas. We know it's going to take a long time to try to battle that stuff, but the more we can peel away, the freer we will be as a people.